All right. So, everybody, welcome to the October book chat. I want to say thank you so much for joining us. I don't even know if it's my screen that is frozen or is. Can anybody hear? Can you hear me? Everybody.
We
Yeah, I
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
I can
I
see
can
you.
hear you.
All right, all right. Because I thought some screens were frozen. I don't know why people are hiding your face today. Anywho, welcome to October
I'm in
book.
lingerie. That's right.
Welcome to October book chat. And this time we'll be doing it differently from how we usually do it when we have an author. So instead of she will be answering questions, obviously, standard, but we're going to make it more like a round table, and I have a few questions to ask us and her later. But you know how we do, just everybody keep your mics muted aside from the author. And if you want to answer any of the questions I ask, just raise your hand, use the raise your hand feature, and I will call in order of how the hands appear. Are we cool? The author screen is frozen, so I don't know if you guys can hear me. Hello?
Oh,
Hear you. I
hey,
can actually hear screen. It's not.
everyone can see me, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
In front of me is frozen. Oh, hey, village people. Okay.
Let me
All right.
let me start my video again. Maybe
All
this
right.
will help. Is this better? Can you see me?
How it was before was okay, actually.
Oh,
You're
okay.
fine.
Okay.
I can see.
Then maybe it was
It's
just
okay.
my network. It's fine. It's all right.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
All right. Here we go. So as we started reading, uh, I want to ask about the reading experience for everyone. Um, how was it reading this book? Was it more of a slow burn for you, or was it a race to finish? Did anybody finish it in one sitting? Did you take a couple of days? Did you need to pace yourself? How was the reading experience for you? Oh, well, there's a hand up. All right, Amalola, we'll go with you.
All right. So I started book, I think it was Thursday. I posted on our chat. I started the book and it was a race to the finish because so I wanted to slow burn it till this morning actually, but because there was so much going on and I needed to see where we would end, I quickly finished it. And I think that was the good in the book, that it kept me wanting to see where where we would end up. Like you're taking me to where I don't know. And I need to know. Yeah.
Okay. Bukola.
Hi, I want to say hi, everyone.
Good to see
Yeah.
you again. I
Good to see
recognize
you
you
again.
from
I didn't know
the
you'd recognize me. I didn't know you
I
would.
recognize you.
I was going to say I actually read this last month with a club, and Aiwanose was really enjoyed it. It was a fast read for me because I wanted to find out at each step. I wanted to find out what. Of course, it was sad. It was sad in multiple places, but I didn't leave it. I'm a multi-reader, and a lot of times when I'm reading a book, I get to a point, I just put it down. I'm like, please, I need something else now. Or maybe if it's not fast enough, I'll drop it, come back. But this one, I read it from start to finish. I didn't finish it in a day because of work and all of that, but I didn't drop it to read anything else. I enjoyed every single. And I know it's bad when you're talking about a sad book and you enjoyed it. It wasn't, the things that were happening were not great. I went in completely blind. I remember saying that I thought it was about FGN because I was thinking, what can it about? And I don't like reading blobs, but generally I love the writing style. I enjoyed it, and I thought it was fast.
Okay. Miami.
Okay. For me, I started reading the book. Like I told you, I mean that the cover of the book was so deceiving because I would not have ventured into this experience. I'll not try it. And I read this book. My roommate was tapping me so many times to shut up because I was screaming. I had to pause the book, cover it like this, walk outside, and go and breathe. First, That's why it took me like 3 days to finish, because I'll look at the book, I'll look at myself. You're not emotionally ready to the next chapter, so just calm down. That was just the experience for me. Even finishing the book, I was like, don't tell me that she died, because I will find this author. You can't do it. Can't. So I have to delay the end for a long time before I finally finished it. And of course, I attacked Amin immediately for putting this on my table. I won't believe you again. I won't believe it. But it was a really good book.
You're welcome.
Please, for your future, please just tell us the cover that is dangerous. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Faith.
Hi. So for me, the book was really fast-paced, but I intentionally slowed myself to a point where I now had to rush through because I was so angry. I was like, if I don't finish this book today, I'm not going to read it again. I am done. Just like Bukola said, it's weird saying that you enjoyed a book when you know the book is really sad. But for me, it kept me on my toes. I went in blind. I don't mind reading blurb, but for some reason I never read synopsis. So I didn't know what to expect. And then halfway through, I went back to read the synopsis because I felt like something, I don't understand what's happening. Where's the sense? Like this lady, I was so angry. I was sad for her. I wanted to hug her. I wanted to slap her. But then at the end, it was a good book. I really loved it. Again, when I say I loved it, I don't mean the content, what she was going through, but it was just a good book. And yeah, probably won't read it for another while until I calm down and, I'm able to stand the characters again, but I loved it.
Okay. Thank you. Joan?
Hi, I think I had the same experience with Omoyim. Is that her name? I picked the book up on my off day, so I finished it almost finished it until I got to around chapter 32, when the thing that happened to Chinelo happened, and I could not. I actually texted Faith. I asked her, "Is Chinelo going to die?" And then she refused to answer me. So I said, "I'm not going to read it." Then I set it aside for like a whole day because I could not. So it was fast paced for me until that point when I could just not get myself to pick it up. I was so scared. But then when I picked it up again, I read it again in like 2 hours. So yeah, I found it fast paced, except that break that I really needed.
Okay. IJ.
Where to start? Beautiful storytelling, by the way. And because someone had pointed this book out to me, I think a month before I got the UK cover, I like to say the first person in Nigeria to get it. I mean, do with that information what you will. Anyways.
Message received.
But when I first
Hey God, your village people are not allowing me to hear you. Network. I can't hear IJ. Is it just you? Can anybody else hear IJ? I can't hear IJ.
Anyways, can they hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Well, after all said and done, I just had to keep reminding myself, Jama, it's just a book, even though this is something that happens every other time. But this is the first book I have talked about 3 times on social media, and I mean knows me. I only talk about books that way if I really, really, really enjoy talking about it. But it was, let's just say I had to go for therapy the very next week on behalf of Chinelo, and especially Adugo. But wonderful book. Wonderful book. I read it again before the end of the year.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. Someone has a kink for pain. All right, Millie.
So it was also a quick read for me. What I found very impressive was I thought that the tone of the book, no, not the tone, the language used allowed you to get through the book quickly and left the heaviness to the content of what was happening to the characters. So I thought that you achieved a balance in that very well. So I read it fast, but with palate cleansers in between. Like you reach a place, maybe you go watch something, because it's like, again, this is what the brothers have said, this is what the mother has said, anyway. And then what was the other thing? The jumps in time sometimes can be jarring, but for some reason in this book, they were not. I was able to find my place, whether it was in the future or going back into the past. It was seamless for me. So I thought, again, that was really good. So yeah, I think it's an enjoyable book. Obviously
Enjoyable.
covering a very and well, I don't know what word to use. What can I use? What is the right word to say?
I also
wasn't
don't know
having
what word.
fun. I wasn't having
I also
fun,
don't know
but
what word.
I wasn't stopping the book. I didn't get to a place where I said I can't read anymore. And then the final thing about the book is the title. Tomorrow I Become a Woman. I didn't see it coming. I didn't see a lot of things that came. I did not see them coming. Like I said earlier, I thought this was the journey of somebody, transitioning. And in some ways, she did transition into many different personalities, So it was a total shock for me, but very well done. I'll not forget this book in a long time to come.
Oh, thank you.
Elizabeth, long time.
Hello, everybody. Good evening, or morning, or afternoon. Okay, so for me, I started out reading the book with another book, The 40 Rules of Love. But after the first quarter of the book, I had to drop the 40 Rules of Love and focus. And then I was done in one night. I finished it in one night. And I couldn't stop. Like everybody else said. I just had to see. I don't know what it is about the book that keeps you going. You just want to see what happens next until you're done. And I liked that it was, should I say simple English or straightforward English? So it was, like somebody else said, they left the heaviness to the actual content, but the writing style was really easy to read. And okay, I will answer the remaining other things, but it was a quick read for me.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So this next question, feel free to also redirect if you need to redirect any of your answers to the author. Yeah, because I know a lot of people had stuff to say about this on the group. What scene, while reading the book, stayed with you the most? Like, if you could just pick one scene, I know there are many, but if you could pick one scene from this book, like if you're passing through your shelf and you just look at the spine of the book and that one scene you're going to forever remember, like which one stuck with you the most? Okay, Omoyemi, we'll start with you.
Okay, I think the scene that stuck with me the most and shocked me the most was when Uju just got married, and I can't remember what happened, but she had a fight with her husband. That was the first time he slapped her. Then he storms out and goes to bring the mother, and the mother slaps her again. And I'm like, this is what we're doing here. That was just the scene. That was just the point where I knew, okay, this girl does not have hope in her family. She should cancel it. At all. If your mother has the audacity, the effrontery, to not beat the man when he entered the house, her own compound, to come and bring such nonsense to her ear, and came all the way to slap the girl on top. Or was it tell her that it's good that it's one slap that he gave you, that he should have done more? I was like, that scene. Anytime I remember this book, I just say, it's that one. It's that point for me.
Okay. Bukola.
The scene I won't forget was in hospital when their daughter, I don't remember the daughter's name now, was in hospital, and then even when she asked her husband for money and he said they should stay there. I will not forget that, because I pictured that, and I thought that at least for his daughter, he will do something. I think that's the part I won't forget. But if you don't mind, that's sad, and the whole book is sad, but I can never forget Let's Get It On. In fact, when I saw the title of that last chapter and I saw Let's Get It On, the scene that came to my mind was that time when they were in the car at the beginning, when they had a bit of are we something, are we not something, but something happened. That's so in my head. I know people say we don't know if they were together. Me, that story has finished in my head. And even that, yeah. So that made it nice for me. So Let's Get It On, but mainly that hospital scene.
Okay. All right. Adobe. Yeah, muted though. Adobe, can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't know if you know you're muted.
She's still processing.
Okay, then we'll come back to Adobe. Blessing.
Okay, hello everyone.
Hiya.
For me, I think the part that stood out to me most was I think she went to school to pick up her daughter, and I'm not sure if it was school that she went to or whether it was a nurse from the hospital. But I think it was in school. The school teacher that was telling her that the daughter was always crying and acting up in school. And then she said something about looking at her finger and seeing that she was unmarried, and wanted to tell her what was happening to her or what. And then she was like that she doesn't want to read her feelings about marriage. She doesn't want to dash her dreams about marriage and all of that. So she just kept it to herself. And exciting stuff. Instead of them to want to talk about it and be open, they keep thinking about other people before themselves. I don't know if she had shared this. So that was the part that stood out the most to me in the book.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Amalala.
So the part that stood out most to me, and it's sort of piggybacking off of where Guzi put his hands on his daughter, the scene that caused her to go to hospital. I felt that that was particularly violent because, I mean, so it's one thing for you to have been systematically breaking her mother down for all those years, but then where does it stop? Where does your thirst for control, where I just felt that was a bit extreme. And for me, knowing that this person exists in reality and has done that to their child, since you say before last, so I'm a daddy's girl and I can't imagine it. So my father would always tell us that the reason he never beat us is because men do to women, has never hit us. I come from age of punishment in Nigeria. So my brother was caned by my father. Not a lot, because my father is very gentle. My mother is, but I asked him one day, I said, Daddy, you don't beat us. You don't even use a ruler. And he says, men do not beat women. And that sticks with me every time I encounter violence on women by men. And then for this man to then put his daughter in hospital was a bit much.
Hi. Okay. Millie.
Yeah, so for me, I think I would agree with Omolola. Just the beating of the child in such a, the beating and then there's beating and then there's beating, So that was a bit too much. But in terms of, there's one statement to do with Adaugo. I'm going to butcher the names a little bit, but you excuse me, I'm not Nigerian. So her name's Adaugo, right?
Adugo.
Adugo.
Yes.
That moment when she's celebrating having a son after having $7, I was just like, this is too much. 7 children to bear, give birth to, and bring them to maybe, I don't know, 2 years or something, 15 years or 16 years. To get a child to maybe 2 years old where they can do 1 or 2 things for themselves. So I just said to myself, this heavy emphasis on having a son when you already have 7 children already. For a woman to go through that over and over and over again, because that's what the society says you must do, that one it's just too much for me. And then even when you have that one son, it's still not enough, as we saw from Chinelo. She already had the boy and the girl. She could have stopped, but then the relatives. So yeah, those 2, sections were quite heavy to digest.
Sending hugs and kisses. Okay. Elizabeth.
Okay, so the one thing that comes to my mind, I had 2 scenes where I cried, but the one thing I remember when I look at the book is that scene when she left Gozier the first time. So in the car she was driving and she didn't know where she was going to, but then she found herself going home to the one place where she wanted to be, the one thing she wanted to be the most, which is a child. I don't know I don't know why it affected me so much, but I could so relate. Sometimes you just want to be a child. And even though I know that where she was going was not going to find what I was looking for, but I felt it. I felt that part of the book a lot.
Sorry, Ndo. All right, Faith.
I can't hear you, Ellen.
Faith, I can't hear you.
And now,
Yep.
Yes, better now. Much better. Oh, it's gone off again.
can you hear now?
Yes.
Yeah, so for me, the one thing that stood out, which was out of the blue, is when she was telling her mom about how she's being beaten and all that, and then the mom tells her story. And I didn't expect the story, because you as a parent, you've gone through all this, you know how it feels, but the takeaway is you should stay, you should be humble, you should make yourself small so that you can have a happy marriage. And when you compare how the book has such heavy parts and all that, that just threw me off, and it kept on coming to my mind on loop, and I'm like, what is this? So that's the one thing that really stood out the most for me.
Bele. Sorry. Okay. I want to say,
Yes.
For you,
yes.
Okay, we spoke about this on the podcast though, but for you, which scene was most painful for you to write, and how were you able to get out of writing that scene? Like, how were you able to get yourself out of the headspace?
So I think I told you on the podcast, for writing Chinelo's scene, the Chinelo's death scene, that was like, it's actually the burial, and then doing the flashback to the hospital, and that was very heavy for me, because I really, because when you write about characters, they become real to you, and then they begin to feel like actual people. And so I actually cried writing that chapter, because it was and then I wanted it to be as real as possible for Dida. And so I tried to imagine losing someone that close to me, like my best friend, and so it was a very painful chapter. I had to take breaks in between. Like I would write a bit, I would walk around, do something else, just just do something else in my life. Sometimes I would like leave for a couple of days and come back, just until I finished it. So it was a very heavy chapter for me to write, but I really wanted it to feel real. And I also wanted to make it clear that so many women lose their lives in trying to society and trying to do what is demanded of them.
Oh, that thing, taking walks. And so think you wrote.
No, I had to. That was a very painful chapter for me to write. It was so painful.
Well, we felt it. We felt how painful it was. So that's kudos to your writing. Well done is what I want to say.
Thank you.
Okay. So to the rest of us, after reading this book, did your opinion of the subject matter did it change as you kept reading? Did I don't want to say did you get new information, because this, even though the book is loosely based on real life, we know it's real life. This book would have been a memoir, honestly. But did your opinion of the subject matter change? And this is a double question. And after reading the book, is there anybody in particular you would like to read this book? Like, do you have an ideal person you'd recommend this to and be like, take this book, read it? IJ, your hand has been up.
Yes. So,
Okay.
true story. This happened to an aunt of mine. That's why it was a bit too personal for me. And we buried her 2 months old. I mean, I was going to say about, that's why I needed to go for therapy and all that bit. But in our own case, it wasn't like we had a situation of like Uju's mom, who, in quote, had survived it and felt, okay, why was my daughter being extra? We tried so many times to get her out of that situation, but it just felt like the more we tried, she would come back for a day and then go back. So when I read this book, I was thinking she would give it to the daughter to read, because I found out that the daughter was in another abusive relationship. So I'm thinking, Madam, we already know how mom went. You cannot seriously be with this particular person, because this person is supposed to be the son of a very popular general overseer in Nigeria. So I was thinking, this is the same thing that happened to your mom. We're trying to be all spiritual like she died. We left everything to God, and this man is still walking the streets of Lagos free. Please don't allow this happen to you. She's read the book, and thankfully, to the glory of God, we have left that relationship. She's in therapy right now. I'm not saying she's going to get better in 1 year or 2 years, but I was happy that the book was helpful for her, because I wanted her to see that it's not going to go away, but you can play your own part by getting out of this relationship. So every time she was reading and turning pages, she was calling me to tell me that Adugo, that's what he was telling me, if we get married, this. You're not going to invite your siblings to come and stay in the house. It's just me and you. Yeah, our first child will be a son. It was already giving her like a script to act out. And I'm like, okay, how long have you guys been dating? Said a year. This person is not married to you. He's already wanting to control your life. Well, it's good that you're able to take the next step by leaving the relationship. Most people don't end up leaving. They just read the book and tell themselves it's fictional. But I was happy that I was able to see past the fiction and see what she needed to do to leave. I don't know if this is too personal or I overshared, but
No,
I just wanted to
thank you.
Aiwanose
Thank you for sharing.
Sorry, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing, because like when I wrote it, like I left her relationship, I have so many. I'm getting so emotional. I have so many family members that feel in their own relationship. So for me, writing this was so that like people could be situations like this. So it means so much to hear that someone read it and like it means so much. Like this is why I writing. I didn't at all. Sorry, I'm getting so emotional over you.
It's okay.
This is why I wrote it like that. I was like, if that's one person, just one person. For me, I feel like I've done so. Sorry, let me just
You're
turn off my
welcome.
video for
I'm
like a
so
couple of
sorry. I
seconds.
didn't mean to make you
No, it's okay.
emotional.
It's okay.
Like,
No.
thank you so much. So much. Thank you. And thank you. I'm so happy. And please tell her, like, give like message for me that I'm so happy for her.
I will. But,
Thank you, IJ, for sharing that.
Like,
Okay.
I think Amazing Network is
Bukola, Europe.
Okay,
I'll keep mine short. Similar to that, but I think for me, one of the points to know whether they're in a relationship or not. I want my daughter, who's 18, to read it, young people, but I want people to know that even if people are in abusive relationships, it's not as if they fell in love with someone or they married someone they didn't love.
Mm-hmm.
You can love someone completely and the person will still treat you that way. Mm-hmm. So I think for me, the message would be that you have to make that decision to go, even if the person would change, you change the person, because people are abusive to you. According to just some people actually still love the person. We have to remember she actually really liked a one. He was like everything perfect to her, and making a decision to leave, it's going to hurt you. You're going to feel as if you're losing something, but you still have to do it to save your life. So I think that'll be my message, that people shouldn't think, oh, but I still love him, so I won't go. Because sometimes you just have to forget. And that's why Tina Turner said, what's not to do with it? If your life is on the line, because she was in a very abusive relationship, if your life is on the line, you have to put love aside and just say, this is my life. Sorry.
Omoyemi, you're up.
Okay. I felt like every stage of this book, at every chapter, was becoming more of the ideal Nigerian woman. She was slowly entering the idea of what some mothers teach their daughters to be smaller, to be more quiet, to not don't talk back. She was becoming that woman until the end, until she decided to stop being that woman. Each time she became, every tomorrow she was becoming that woman. And I think now it's a book title actually what was going on in the story. As for who I would want to read this book, I don't know. I don't know anybody who has been in this kind of relationship. And most times when I hear stories like this, I keep asking myself, how do you reach this person? Because Uju, one thing that really annoyed me about Uju's character is that I felt like she had a knowing. She knew, she understood, and she knew what she had to do to survive. At every single stage that it progressed, the pain progressed, I feel like she knew. But every time she would go back to the person that would push her back into her shell. She kept going back, and I kept asking myself, if you met this kind of person, you would talk from now to tomorrow. And it is hard to reach them. They always go back to the people that put them back exactly where they should be. So I really don't have who I would say, take this book, read it. Yeah, that's just my own.
Okay, I get you. I think I get you. Elizabeth.
Okay. First of all, I'm giving everybody I know, everybody. From the day I finished that, I put on my status, everybody read this book. So I was just holding on to my copy for that. Tomorrow I'm sending it to you, first of all, to my cousin, who is also my best friend. When she finishes reading it, I'm getting a copy for my auntie, I'm getting a copy for my mom. Everybody has to read this book. I'll borrow it to everybody if I should, but everybody needs to read this book. I'm not joking about it. And oh my God. I'd like to say, I read somewhere in the book, so if what Amin was saying, it's good that we can relate to what was happening, we're being infuriated, something like that. I think I remember saying something like that. But for me, this is like good. And I know that we're shielded a lot when we're children. So reading this book now at this age, it's just made me see things about my childhood in a different light. And I didn't expect to see it with passion for my mom. I can't explain how, but everybody has to read this book. Now I can understand what was actually going on when I was a child, how my mom was protecting us, how she did not leave after all the several beatings. And my dad still left after 30 years, like he's married to somebody else. Wow. But still, oh my God. It's so real. And I can't say that in this 22, these things are not going on. They're still going on. There's still the enabling. I've had so many fights with my mom about, especially when my dad left. She won't know to come back now. Also, was alive for, and my mom. So in this entire life, you came to come and marry man. That's the sum of your whole. But I get it. I can talk like that and all that, but when I see the background from which you're coming, when I see how even society treats me as a single person, I get it. Some days you're just tired, you don't want to fight society again. Like, okay, anything people want to do, just I'm okay. So I think I skipped where I was going to. I was going somewhere. Oh my God. I forgot where I was going, but it still happens today. For us that grew up in kind of and saw that even my mom's family, my dad's family, all the several times he would beat and throw out of the house, and my mom would be screaming, and we'll have to go and stay in my dad's elder sister's place for a while, maybe like 1 month or so. We'll go to school from there, then my dad will come and pick us again, things will be settled, and then you go again. So it is very true. There are no lies there. It's still happening. It still affects even me that had so much fear for marriage. I started wondering, why, if I grew up in this kind of situation, why would I be like? So I get it's a very important book. From there already, I told my cousin it's very important. Everybody should read it. I remember where I was going. Now, the relationship I had with 3 girls, so it touches me in so many ways. My mom didn't have a son, doesn't have a son, and there was also pressure from, you don't, those kind of things. The relationship my dad had was so different from the relationship my dad had with my mom. My dad pampered us. My dad loved us. So I kind of understand. And after she still loved her dad, but she understands he treated her mom that way, and she didn't really see all those things. I get it very much. So yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for sharing that, Elizabeth. Whew. Okay. Blessing. I hope you remember to unmute this time.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I did the last time. It's just that my network is bad.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Thank you for sharing. That was a lot. So for me though, I'm just going to say the same thing Elizabeth said, but from a different angle. I think that all women, especially women living in Nigeria, I don't know, I think Africa by extension, should read the book, as young as maybe, I would say maybe 16, because even at 16, even if a 16-year-old doesn't really understand all the nuances of the book, it will open up conversations that would lead to important discussions, that would lead to making informed decisions when it's time to, get into a relationship, long-term, whether marriage or anything. Because and even for I just like that the book covered a lot of families that don't support their daughters when families that don't support their daughters who are in abusive relationships, like Uju's mother was, and churches as well, those that church people play in things like this. It just covered every single aspect, I think. If there's anything it did cover, then maybe to just be like maybe 5% of the things that enable abusive men in relationships to continue to do what they do and get away with it. So I think that's a very important book, like Elizabeth said, for all women to read, young women, mothers, even maybe if there's someone like Uju's mother out there. Okay, there are people like Uju's mother out there. I don't know why I'm saying if there is someone like Uju's mother out there. There are people like Uju's mother out there. They may not necessarily be the direct mothers of the ladies involved in the relationship. They may be their aunties, they may be their sisters, they may be their mentors or anything. Maybe it's also forced them to rethink their position on what kind of support they think they should be giving to a young lady in this kind of situation. Because shortly after I read the book, this story of IVD and Bimbo was just everywhere on the internet, and I was like, okay, this is just what I finished reading about, and something like this happened. So I feel it's very important for all women to read. Very great lessons. Even if you don't learn anything, you must learn one thing. So yeah,
I agree. If anybody knows who I can sleep with among those that are creating the syllabus for WAEC, I volunteer as tribute.
Oh my God.
I mean, you just said, you legit just said.
Oh yeah,
this book
so
used to be on
I'm
the
just
WAEC
saying I will do
syllabus.
whatever it takes. That's what I'm saying. I will do whatever it takes. That's what I mean. That's what I meant.
Don't people
Okay, so if you guys have connect, all right. Oh, Steph, hi.
Hi everyone, good evening. Good evening, everyone. I joined the meeting late. I think I joined 10 minutes ago. My network is crazy today.
Sorry.
My network is crazy today. I just want to thank the author of so much for this, because as an Igbo woman, this book is, very triggering in an aspect that the Igbo culture enables abuse so much. I keep saying it every time. I don't think there's any culture in Nigeria that, is as wicked as women to the Igbo culture. I think why the author, I don't know, I may not be right, but I think that is why the author wrote the book from
You're very
an
right.
Igbo woman's perspective. I think that is why the author wrote this book from an Igbo woman's perspective, because I don't think there's any culture in the whole of Nigeria that is as wicked to women as the Igbo culture.
Yes, so Abriba people.
You see this thing about, like when Chinelo died, like when I got to the point where she died, I cried. I dropped the book and I cried, because there are a lot of women, that have conditions or are sick, and they know that the doctor has given them advice that they should not try for another child. And because, although she was not married to an Igbo man, but like from an Igbo woman's perspective, a doctor cannot give her this kind of advice to stop trying for children, and maybe she doesn't have a son yet. She will not listen. Typical Igbo woman, I know, because in the Igbo culture, there's so much shame. There's so much disgrace. There's a woman who doesn't have a child facing the whole. So I just felt so sad for Chinelo because I know that she was married to a man who didn't mind not having a son, but because as an Igbo woman, she felt like she will do her husband a dishonor if she doesn't give him a child. That part was so triggering. I cried and I dropped it because I know someone who lost her life in the process of trying to give birth to a son, even when she was advised to stop
I'm
trying.
so sorry.
Yes, it's my mom's friend. It happened so many years ago, but when I got to Chinelo's part, I just had to drop the book because it was really triggering. They advised, I think she was a diabetic patient or something, or she had hypertension, I can't remember. They asked her to stop trying, and she went ahead. She just stubbornly kept trying because she felt, oh, if I don't have a son, what does it mean for my husband? I wonder how a lot of people talk to my husband because he doesn't have a son. It's also rubbish the way the Igbo culture treats women. And people like Obianuju's mom, I don't think there's redemption for people like that woman. I really don't think so because the way they've been conditioned to believe that they are nothing without the men in their life. And you can see the amount of abuse of that. And I really agree with what Elizabeth said too. I kind of see a lot of things from my perspective because most of these men are not like, do not treat their wives, do not treat their children the same way they treat their wives. So sometimes women just say, okay, since it's kind to the kids, is it really necessary I leave? If I leave, who will pay their fees? Who will pay our bills? So if he does all these things to only me, then there's no I can stay. So I think that Uju's mom stayed, and I think that's why Uju made the decision to stay for a long while until she couldn't. She just knew that if she don't leave, she was just going to die. I think that's why women like that make those kind of decisions. Also, I don't know, I can't remember the name of this character. I think Susie. Am I right?
Yes.
Sally.
Yes. Sally.
Yes, I know her name starts
Salome.
from yes. I think I read the book in June. That's why I can't remember her name, but I really, really like her character, and I don't know why she reminds me of Buiza from Chintu. I don't know if you guys remember the character of Chintu.
Yes, I can see where you're going
I don't
with
know why
that.
she reminds me. Yes, this kind of she's this kind of. I really like her character because in the kind of world it's really hard not to conform to societal pressures. I think that's why a lot of these women make this kind of mistakes. That's why a lot of these women make this kind of mistakes because the person may feel like, okay, this is how I want to live my life, but it's hard not to conform to societal pressures. Really, really hard. So I really admire Sally's character for staying true to herself and for not settling for less because it's really what is happening a lot these days. I want to thank you all so much for this book. I have given my younger sister, I'm still going to buy a copy or two for other people I know so they can read this book, especially the Igbo women I know around me because a lot of them need redemption. The condition is very crazy. A lot of them, it will take serious fasting and prayers for them to break out of all these things. So I'm really glad that the author took it upon herself to tell this story because this is the story of many Nigerian women, and sadly it's still happening in this 2022. And because I saw the thread you
the one I posted this
on yes, because I keep saying that in Nigeria a lot of us do not know a lot of things about other people's cultures. We are just just know a little bit of, we don't even fully know a lot of things that's happening in our culture because I could never imagine that this kind of thing still happens in that kind of. Sometimes I sit down and I talk about these things and I imagine that maybe some of these things happen only in some parts of the north up to now. I didn't even imagine that this thing happens in Bayelsa today. So a lot of us are ignorant about a lot of things happening around us. So I'm just glad that a lot of you keep putting us on themselves to keep telling these stories, because if we do not tell our stories, I don't know who will. Thank you so much for this book,
Thank you so
Aiwanose.
much, Stefan. Thank you for your comments, and I'm so sorry about your mom's friend.
Thank you.
This has been a heavy conversation.
It has been a heavy conversation. Okay, just a
But it's
little
really
shift.
needed.
It's very needed though. It's very needed. Because I mean, like, she had this friend group and everybody is just literally on the same plane. So I want to say, since everybody had like semi catfish reactions to the title, can you share the rationale or the inspiration behind the title "Tomorrow I Become a Woman"?
So there are two things. So the first one is the very first draft of this novel. It began with "Tomorrow I Become a Woman." So the scene that was supposed to open the novel, and this is okay, not really a secret, but it's a secret. Well,
I mean, it's book club. We've read the book.
So the very first thing that was supposed to open the first draft of the novel was basically, would you get married the next day, right? And her saying, "Tomorrow I become a woman." But the entire rationale behind the title and behind the book was, at every point in time, we're told, oh, when you do this, you're going to become a woman. When you do that, you're a woman. So like, oh, when you first get your menses, you're like, now you're a woman, now you're now a mature woman. Then they're like, oh no, when you married, oh, now you're a woman. When you have a child, oh, now you're a woman. And we have so many women saying things like, oh, because they don't have children, they don't feel like women, because they've been made to feel that they're women who hinges on these things. You understand? Like, there are women that don't get their periods because they have certain conditions, and they've been made to feel like they are not women just because, when you attach importance to all these things, it's like, at what point does it stop, Or and then there's some people that say, oh, when you have a first son, now you're a true woman, when you have your son, or when, oh, now your children are married, all your children are married, now you're so it's like, tomorrow
you become a grandmother, now you are now a woman proper. It doesn't stop.
Yes, exactly. It doesn't stop. It never stops. And so many women just try to fit these expectations. They keep bending themselves, rather. They keep reaching for all this. And for me, it's like, why is womanhood dangled as something we have to reach for? Why am I not just a woman? And that's why I chose that title.
Ooh, okay. To the rest of the house, since this book is like almost mostly from Uju and, well, third person point of view, is there any other character you'd have wanted a POV from, if you could hear from another person's point of view? I don't know why I'm saying the same thing in different ways, but yeah, if there's any other character that you could...
I know I'm the author, but I don't have a character.
Okay, to the rest of the house, is there anybody else you'd have wanted to hear from? Okay, Steph, your hands up.
I wanted to read from the point of view of Adugo. I did want to see how she coped with, being friends with Chinelo and Uju, and how she coped with the death of her friend. So, she was kind of abused in her own marriage. So I did want to see if she saw all the things that happened to Uju, and how her friend just died, like how her life just wasted away. Why did she want to stay back? Like, I want to see her reasons wanting to stay back. If she saw that, Uju lost her whole self in trying to please everybody, and trying to be the perfect woman, and she saw that Chinelo lost her life trying to bet a son to become a real woman. Why did she choose to stay back? What are her reasons for wanting to stay back? Would it be because maybe her husband is wealthy and she doesn't want to, lose the financial security she currently had? Or just why? Why did she want to stay back? I really wanted to read from Adugo's POV because I did feel like she was not a very good friend, but at the same time, I won't really blame her. The condition is really crazy. It takes a whole lot to make a lot of, and you can see she's Igbo, so it takes a whole lot for her to just, for women like that to just sit back and try to unlearn a lot of crazy rubbish things. So I did want to know why she stayed back, because I feel like if this thing happens to people very close to you, people like that you consider as sisters, isn't it like a warning? Isn't it like supposed to make you to just consider your decisions and paths you want to take in life? Speaking of which, I don't know if anybody can recommend literature, because I read Oguma, and I read Stay With Me. I've not read any book like this. Women who just just dare to live the life as they know it, just drop everything, start up, and who are known as others in literature. I have not read something quite like that after reading Stay With Me and Ogadima. So I don't know if anybody knows any other book that's like that.
You should read Buchi Mechata's Second Class Citizen, although it's very sad as well.
But I don't think Buchi Mechata writes.
Actually, everything Buchi Mechata, honestly, everything Buchi is that's her aesthetic.
Bukola, she didn't leave on time. What
Well,
she's looking for is a book
okay,
where someone lives on time.
I don't know who lives on time. This one didn't live to the end.
I don't know who lives on time. I don't know of any situation.
But
Either African, Arab. I've not seen where I've not experienced a woman living on time. Maybe that's a new project for someone to work on.
But an abusive relationship, because yesterday in Stay With Me, she didn't leave because her relationship with her husband was abusive. Like, I'm trying to read African literature about women who just they just fed up of their conditions and just drop everything and just leave their children and start a whole new life, just like selfish, in quotes, selfish mothers. I want to like that.
Maybe I'll write something like that. Who knows? Then probably find a way to see him killing in slow torture.
That would be really interesting. Actually, that's a very different perspective. Women that just.
You know what Maya Angelou says? If you're looking for a book and you can't find it, that means it's
write
supposed to write.
Listen to the spirit and write it. Okay. Earlier, I just said you would like to hear from Dr. Akin's point of view. I don't know if
yes, that's actually character. That's a character I know.
I mean, but like his part would probably be
that,
like a short story though. Like if we were to get anything from him, to be a short story, because like it's not exactly in her life per se. He's in the abroad.
Writing
Sorry,
letters.
can I say something? I think those letters kept her going.
Yes. Perhaps we can get a collection of the letters. I don't mind more letters as a separate project in case you're feeling, creative.
I mean, stop. The next thing now you're going to ask for a novella of two of them together.
Oh, his only wife. Okay, yes, that was his only wife. I mean, yeah, it's kind of in the same line. Ish. Her own was it not more let me not say was it not just. Yeah, but it was emotional abuse. Yeah. Sorry. Bukola, your hand is up.
I wanted to say I really, really liked Akin's character, and I know that in the group chat on Instagram, a lot of people have been saying that what kind of stupid love is that? They didn't like the fact that he waited, it was terrible. But what I kept telling people is that you can't help who you love. If you love someone, you love the person. And he tried somebody else, it didn't work. And I don't think it was a stupid person, quote unquote, to have just been there waiting. I think he just wanted her to see. And he never, he wasn't quick to tell her what he wanted. And I kept reminding people, you have to remember, this was just after Biafra War. So it wasn't that easy for a Yoruba man and an Igbo woman to get together and go like that. So I really found that believable. And you said he wasn't really there, but I think he was really in her life, just a bit of hope for the future. I was typing this, but I've deleted it now. You can imagine if it was this day of social media, they would have been exchanging DMs, Laura. You know, that's what would have been keeping her going in that period. Anyway.
Okay, people are petitioning. Faith is trying to petition for a novella for Aki and Uju, you know, in the later years. Also,
sign me up.
Hey God, there's something I was about to say. Hey, yes, I did not say this to you before. I want to say, but I should say it now. God will honor you for what you did with Aki. For the first time, a Yoruba did not demon in a book. So for me, a win is a win. A win is a win. I don't even care. A win is a win.
Nothing.
I don't care. The Yoruba man did not fuck up this time, because when you think about it, okay, Elizabeth, your hand is still up. I don't know if you guys' hands have been up, Steph and Elizabeth, and you forgot, but yeah, Elizabeth, your hand is up. Any other POV I wanted to hear from? Was that the question I asked? I can't remember.
Yes, that was the question.
Yes. Okay.
Before I say the POV, which someone already said, there was something when she was talking about Aiwanose.
Everyone calls me Aiwa, don't worry.
Aiwa.
Okay, Aiwa.
Oh, okay. Aiwa. We're in the circle now.
Okay, when she was like saying the title, I didn't feel catfished by the title. Maybe it's because, no, I didn't feel catfished. But I forgot to mention this when I was talking about how who would I recommend the book to? I wrote it down. I said, I think this book is an important one, and I recommend to everyone I know, because it highlights how impossible it is to attain the ever-shifting goalpost of true womanhood, in quotes. So when she said that, I recalled it. I think Joanne also mentioned something like that. And yes, that Dr. Akin's love story, please, was so important. This book would have been miserable without that love. Please allow it for us. I would learn from his point of view. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, so Mama Sikira for the win.
That woman is on point, Mama Sikira, on point. Properly hiding the letters and delivering them coded.
Respect to Mama Sikira, honestly. Okay. Hey, Chinelo, your hand was up before. Okay, but before you speak, there was, even though she's like the most infamous character in the book, honestly, I would have wanted to get a point of view from Uju's mom. I would have wanted to see if at some moment she hesitated, if at some moment she doubted herself, or she was just like full force, you know what, you must suffer it, and you're just being dramatic right now. I just want to know if, as she experienced it before, if there were moments where she's like, this is the only way I know how I can help you, so you just have to pull through, you just have to go. But yeah, I wouldn't have minded Uju's mom's point of view. But I know, yes, we don't like her. But see, the more hated the character is, the more I want to know, like, as when you wake up in the morning, like, are you still eating the same way, or you're just like full on demonic? I need to know. Do you get? So, yeah. I would have wanted to know Uju's mom's POV. Okay, Blessing's hand is up now. There was Chinelo. Abi, your network has gone. Okay, Blessing.
Okay, yes, I wanted to agree with you. I mean, I think I would have appreciated, even though I know it may have taken the work beyond the scope that Aiwanose wanted to talk about, but I would have, because I really want to understand like a mother. She carried Uju in her belly for 9 months and birthed her, trained her up until university. And then Uju got married to this man that she never knew from anywhere. And then
Or
all of a
reminds her
sudden
of
she became
her
best
missing
friends.
brother.
Yes, that reminds her of her missing brother. And then she becomes best friends with this guy, just collabs with him to keep oppressing her daughter. And she could ask him for everything but money. Because there was this part where she needed money and all of a sudden she couldn't reach Gozier to ask him for money anymore. She had to tell Uju to ask Gozier to please send her some money for something. And I was like, okay, so when Gozier beats Uju or does something terrible to Uju, you know how to reach Gozier to calm him down and do everything. But when it comes to collecting money, you don't know his phone number anymore. So I really wanted to I really wanted to understand what was going through her mind. Like, was it a situation of, oh, my daughter, I feel so bad for you, but I can't show you this side of me because if I show you this side of me, you will leave your home? Or was it a full-on situation of, I don't know, all of a sudden I lost whatever it is I used to feel for my daughter. I never felt anything for my daughter. I just gave birth to her to give her away to someone just so that she can be a woman. I would have appreciated that point of view. I just wanted to.
Okay. Aiwanose, do you have anything to say to that? Okay.
Wait, all comments or just that?
No, just that particular one.
Definitely. So just mother's character, I really like. She can't, like, everyone is like, oh, she's terrible and everything, but I think also she's very much a product of her environment and what had happened to her. Because you have to remember that this was someone that was like less than 16 and was on the back of a bus to Lagos, not a teenager, you understand? And the time that she was born in, if you speak to a lot of older men and women, when you say a man beats his wife, it's nothing. Like I remember I was talking to an older uncle and he was like, oh, when you behave, you beat her. And then, and I was like, whoa. I don't even know why that threw me off. Like, I was just like, what? Like, what am I listening to, And he was just, because to them, it's absolutely, and I was like, what do you mean you beat if your wife misbehaves, you beat your wife to correct her head and then it's okay. And then he was like, yes, now, like, to that generation, it's nothing. It's really like you really have to understand. Like, in fact, it was not like it was normal. It was part of the training process for your, and you have to understand that she was a lot younger. Like, she was a teenager. She married her husband. So to her, it was like, see, okay, this guy beats you, fine, but then he's wealthy, he's this, and then the whole concept of you're abandoning everything. Like, when Gozier dies, who inherits all this? You understand? So it's like, so you might know this proverb. You might say that you eat from the one that has egg. You understand? So it's like, okay, all men are terrible. At least this one has money. This one is this one is that. It reminds me so much of my brother. My brother was such a good man. Okay, this is just this one flaw, and men do it anyways, So just so for me, even though she's like such a terrible character in many ways, it's also just like people don't just exist like that, like it happens to make them happy. And that was really I tried to show. And maybe in some future work I'll explore her character a bit more, maybe from like the younger years.
No, but you did well, because this is going to be a Hall of Fame character. Even though she's not my favorite, she's going to enter the Hall of Fame as a character I will not forget in a very long time. Okay.
Thank you.
Chinelo.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Chinelo.
The first thing I want to say was Uju's dad. If Uju could make you have a 360 of your life, why? That's well, because if you know men and their daughters, you will know that he would have gone to kill Gozier with his bare hands. if I got to know what really went through his head, because that's his only daughter, and Uju was a daddy's girl. So I wonder why he didn't save her from that situation. Because Uju was a turning point in his life. So why not take her out of it? And the second thing is, the author is not Igbo, but she wrote the Igbo perspective like as if she lived it.
But did you live in the Igbo land?
So I want to know.
No, so I do have, like, I have Igbo friends, and so like for a lot of the Igbo world, and things like I spoke with them a lot. Like my best, she's Delta Igbo, so she's and then I just like I don't know why, whether it's like but a lot of my friends are actually Igbo, and it's actually coincidental. Like I didn't go out of my way to make all my friends, but then I just and so it was so just listening to their stories, having conversations with them was just really I won't not easy, but it was like just great to have that perspective in mind when I was writing. So thank you. I'm so glad I did it justice, because like it was one thing I did a lot when I was like, I hope any person will not read this thing and feel that, what did this person say? So I'm really happy to hear this. So thank you very much.
Someone is asking, Bukola is asking where you're from. Sorry, Chinelo, sorry.
So my dad is actually from Edo State, but my mom is Yoruba.
I knew it.
Oh wow.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Okay. Chinelo, you can continue.
Oh, and the character I wanted more story about was Chinelo. Coincident, my name is Chinelo, but I could really relate. I could really relate with her, minus the part that she took a risk to give birth to a son. I would not do that. I love my life so much. But the fact that she could be on two spectrum depending on the situation she finds herself, I really could relate with her. So I wanted to know how the challenges she faced about when she married a Northerner, because if you know Igbo women are marrying outside their place, I know they face so many challenges because it will take them time to relate with their cultural values, because our values are the North, like here to Australia. That I know because I'm an Igbo living in the really have loved to hear her story and her marriage. Thank you. But for this book, I didn't throw tantrums because I was scared of breaking my tab. If not,
you are gentle.
Because some screens are expensive, and in this Buhari time, I don't want to go there. Thank you so much. And I could really relate to this story because when I was
go on.
When I was reading it, I was like, this is what my life would have been if I didn't live in the Uju perspective. So I could really relate with it because I left earlier, but not everybody had the opportunity to leave early, because I heard somebody saying that leaving early, I selfishly left. I didn't even look back.
I'm so happy.
And that's why I'm surprised on Uju's father, because the day I told my dad I was leaving, he told me, "Are you done?" He said, "Pack your bag and come back home." So it shocked me with Uju's dad. Because if you know men, their daughters, they don't play. Thank you very much.
You have a wonderful dad.
You have a wonderful father, actually.
You really do.
But I'm also happy for you.
I'm really happy for you. So just to respond to that, so I told you that this is loosely based on real stories, and so the person I know who's like her dad loves her and everything, but then he literally just stood back as her mother pushed her back into the marriage. Like he didn't do anything, he didn't say anything. And now from the perspective of that in this book, I think when I was writing it, I was thinking he just thought he couldn't be a hypocrite because I've been that person before, And there are some men that still, and then I also wanted to write a character where there's this thing that happens sometimes in some homes where women see their fathers as like supportive and feminist and everything, right? But then they step back and allow the mothers to be bad guys, and so they're quiet, but then they don't really do anything, they don't really speak up, like, because even in her upbringing, when Uju's mother would say, oh, this, or you're a girl, her one said, oh, don't, like, yes, he was supportive of her, she was his baby and everything, but I realized there's so many situations like that, just speaking and just knowing people where the fathers allow the mothers to be the bad guys, but then they don't do anything. They're not active, They're just this silent character that just, like, oh, I love my dad, but then they're just silent, and so that's really what I wanted to. That's what I had in mind when I wrote this character.
I get you.
Well, thank you.
Oh, you do well. You really do well. When I finished reading the book, I don't have a message. I was like, wait, this is a debut. Writers did this word, man. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Lua, hey God, I don't want to keep you. You were doing spaces before this. I know you are tired. Ore.
Hi. Can anybody hear
Hi,
me?
Ore.
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Okay, so I've been enjoying this chat and I'm very thankful for it. So I want to talk about Uju's mom and Uju's dad. So someone said the other time that I think it was Aminda asked that said, did Uju's mom ever like have any time where she thought, oh, this is crazy, let me stop this or something like that? I feel like I don't think she had any moment like that. In my own perspective, I feel like she was just like in her own mind that I've suffered this thing, I did not die. You suffer it and you won't die. So just keep on doing what you're doing. Just keep on enduring. So there's no big deal in this thing. And now that I think she also felt that after our daughter came and all of that, just that stopped being that main guy. So he was like, okay, at the end of the day, when you get a son or something, or when you get something, Gozier will stop being that guy. So she acting that or that. So nothing is going to happen anymore. So I don't feel like she had any moment where she was sober or where she was this nice person. No, I don't think so. I think she just had that moment of, I've done this, I'm still living, so you'll be fine. So that's what I think. Uju's mom was just like. So for Uju's dad, well, I think that he didn't do anything to support Gal or what would I call it, to boldly support Uju, because I feel like in this story too, poverty plays a lot of card. Like poverty has this thing going with the whole story, apart from the whole misogyny and all of that. Because Gozier was like what was it called? Was a rich man in this story. First, from the beginning, was not so rich. I think it was time he fell on bad times, but that was already when these were already like going. Which was already in that whole mix up. So I think the reason also he didn't like really support her was because if Uju was probably thought that if Uju was to come back and start living with them, there was no way he was going to be able to support her financially or anything. I think that's the way to look at it. But I'm not saying that what he did was right. Definitely no, it was a very, very idiotic father. I don't care about it. Oh, she's supporting. I'm supportive of you silently. It was just very dumb as a father. So I don't care for him at all. But I feel like in this story, poverty plays a card in the story, and the fact that there was a match up to Gozier financially, I feel like it's also like a setback. Men, they don't think of anything apart from money. So when they feel like there's somebody else, most of them, somebody else that has more than them, they feel sometimes intimidated. So I feel like he was intimidated by Gozier in this story, and that actually plays a role in the way he supported 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 Uju. So that's what I have to say. Also, I want to mention that for any, I think there was a question that you asked at that time about who are you going to like recommend this book to. As Elizabeth said the other time, I'm going to recommend this book to everybody. Everybody needs to read this book. It's very important. When I finished reading this book, I had to give my cousin to read it too. And we had a whole discussion on this book. And I've been like recommending it to many other people around me too. So I feel like everybody needs to read it. There's no age group that doesn't need to read this book, even if you are beyond maybe you're below 16 or anything. Because I feel like we feel like children are don't see things. And this is not to say that okay, if you are like when you are 16 and above, you have to read this book. No, this is not to say that. I'm not going to say this. Okay, so younger children, right? People that maybe you are still getting into their teens or you're in their early teens, also see things and they're confused. Okay, what's going on? And I feel like sometimes it'll be too late at that 16 to try to change some people's try to like mold the mindset again, maybe by reading at that time or something. But if they've been seeing something maybe since when they were 10, that's 6 years too late in my own opinion. So I feel like everybody, as long as you're able to reach at any point, there's no subject matter that is too small. With this one that is very particular to women. So if there's any subject matter that is too small for any child of any age group, only for women, for men for boys, younger boys to see and say, okay, this is not a good example for me to emulate from anybody or something. And when they see that, okay, they see this story and say, okay, maybe a father figure in my life is doing this kind of thing, and they see how horrible it is. Because some children, they feel like, oh, it's just very crazy for some families, and they feel like maybe their father is doing something right. But when they see it in another perspective, they're able to understand that, okay, it doesn't make any sense, and it can actually change something from that younger age. So I feel like everybody needs to read it. Everybody, no matter how young, old, everybody needs to read it. So yeah, thank you for giving us this book, Iowa, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming. Bye bye.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, and thank you for your perspective. It's quite interesting. Yeah, it's very. I think it's very interesting to always hear like from a different perspective. Like, oh, I didn't think of that. I'm like, oh, that's curious, but it's a great like it's different. I think when I always say like when writing news, people will interpret it in so many ways. So I'm always excited to get like a new interesting perspective. So thank you.
Obi, before it will be like I'm ignoring you. Speak. You have the floor, dear.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm so sorry. So I came late. I'll just say everything quickly. So you can't get to another person. So I just want to say that this is the best book I read this year, and I'm pretty sure that no other book is going to top it. And it's so funny because this book, like I was so angry, like I wanted to sharpen cutlass and go and kill somebody. Type of angry. That's how angry I was. But I read it in one day, and I was just like, I read it in one day, then I had to go and relax because I was like, what just happened? What just happened? Like, why am I like? I just felt right. Like this thing, you can't remember the year, but like, I wasn't even born at the time it was set. But I could relate to almost everything. It doesn't even matter if your parents are like or more enlightened. You will get it from somewhere. You get it from your aunties. You get it from your uncles. That kind of thing. So once I finished reading the book, I went because I'm not going to give my to anybody. I went to the bookshop and I helped that distribute amongst family.
Oh, we can't hear. I think I need to.
She sent a message that after on the group chat, she said after oh yeah, favorite hand was up. You're back.
My village people in empty office. God. All right. Okay. Favor's hand is not up again. No, Favor's hand was up. Okay. Steph. I was going to start rounding up. So let's start using style to be rounding up. Okay. All right.
Okay, everyone.
Conversation.
Okay,
everyone. I do think apart from the poverty aspect, I do think why, why would you say that didn't make any attempts to bring her out of that marriage was fear. Nobody knew like he was like a Gauzier till the end of the story. So I do think guilt made him not to bring his daughter out of that and tell his daughter to leave that relationship, because he felt like, okay, if he says something like that, then Uju's mother will say, who are you to give that kind of advice? You know you once used to be a Gauzier. Who are you? What kind of moral right or ground do you think you have to give this kind of advice? And it's to put an end to the perfect image that his children have of him. Because I think the abuse, yes, were not very old enough to I think they were not like the first one was not interested. I think any of them have see their father in that kind of light as a man who used to abuse his wife. So it will just spoil the perfect image that even his precious, lovely little daughter. So I think guilt played a very huge role in, and fear of his wife, ratting out everything. Because this kind of things when the man, the women assume that okay, the men have dropped this abusive show and all that, they just die the whole thing, and they just tend to not even say anything to their children, because it took a lot for I know it took a lot for Obiageli to tell Ju her story. So maybe the man was kind of afraid that if he says the union, then we will write everything out, tell our children how everything used to be. So I do think the guilt and fear, not even necessarily being quiet and all that bullshit. I think guilt and fear made him not to tell his daughter to leave her union. And I think why he was just in the background, I don't know why it's kind of like an apology to his wife for everything that he used to do to her. So I think why he allowed her, yes, I think why he allowed her make pivotal decisions is because of what she used to do to her. Just like, okay, I'm really sorry for everything I made you suffer all these years. Okay, take all the decisions, whether bad or good, just do whatever pleases you. It's just like sorry for everything I did to you. So I do think guilt and fear made him not just speak out and tell his daughter, please, you can come back home and see your father, you still have a home here.
That's a very interesting perspective, actually. And it does make sense.
Yeah, I didn't even think of
Thank
that.
you.
Favor, your hand has been up since I apologize. Favor Jackson. It's a very interesting combo.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. First of all, I want to say that I appreciate this opportunity. This is a really nice thing. I just want to summarize my thoughts on the book, and I just think that the way let me start from Oju's mom and mothers in general, at least most mothers in general. I think they teach us, the children, to see marriage as something to like an achievement, like something that if you're not married, that means you're like completely, there must be something wrong with you. Like there's something, it must, like they just even I really could relate to that whole time when if you don't wash plates properly, be like, this is how you wash in your husband's house. If you don't do this properly, this is how you do in your husband's house. They're like liking everything to that. Like, is this how you do in your husband's house? Like, if you want to train us, why don't you just train us because you want us to be why are you training us? Because you're like training us to be like marriageable, to be marriage material. I'm not completely like dissing our marriage. Marriage is an institution that is good, but then again, the whole societal pressure and everything, and they make us seem like if you don't have a man, what's the point? Like, why?
Why
What
are
are
you
you
still
like?
alive?
I think there are even some organizations or maybe some places you cannot really go to because you cannot have, or maybe you can't, like, maybe they cannot give you a certain passport or whatever because you're not married or because you don't have a husband. Like, it's just very, I don't know the word to use. And also, most of our mothers are in abusive relationships or in marriages, and it's always like, I'm staying for the children. What of my children? I'm thinking of my children, and they don't even realize that these children that you're staying for, the more you're staying, the more you're damaging their like their psychology. They are seeing these things, they know these things, and you're staying, and it's damaging them the more. It's like, why are you? Why it's even better to like not stay and then be in an environment is peaceful for them, and we wouldn't even they might even be glad that, oh, thank God we done. Do you know what it means for it to dread being at home every day because they don't really know what will happen, and maybe they don't know when fights will break out, and they just like, oh God, oh, is this the day is this the day my mom dies? Is this the day, like, they just so they should just cancel. I wish we would just cancel out that staying for the children. If you talk to these children, you actually realize that they understand and they might even wish you to like leave. Just like, can you just go and have peace of mind? So I'm saying this from experience because of my parents. So it's just, finally my mom did leave, but then again when I just not really I get to that. And there's this part in the book where this part in the book where a lady from church actually came to do a testimony, and she said, oh, finally she finally gave birth to a boy. She said, finally God has removed my shame. And Uju is referring to her female children shame. It's just really, it just really hits you when it's what is this? What is, I was like, I don't know, what is really this male child thing? Like, what is it? What's this male child? I don't get, I don't understand I just don't get it. Because if you realize that male children, at the end of the day, most of them are not even come back to take care of you at your old age. It's usually the females that like go way out, like it's usually the females, most of them, they don't even do that for you. Like, are you having that on you? I was like, what's with this carrying name? Like, most of these male children, they carry them and spoil it. Either they join like bad friend groups, or they just like do other things. What I wish that this generation would teach our children not to by all this. I don't have a male child. I'm not a woman. Son, like this son would come and probably bring more issues for you. So I just generally I really did love the book, and I just and I want to with just husband. I feel like I don't know if to say, I don't know if anybody sees it, but I just feel like he didn't really like her like that.
Of course.
I just feel like he did not. Giving her expensive clothes, living in a good house was just for his image. If things if he wasn't like rich, I don't know if he would. I just didn't think that he really liked that, because, or maybe he did, and maybe that was people just fucked up ways of like showing their. I'm sorry for my language, though.
It's fine. It's very fine.
It's just
I don't think he liked
I
that
could not. I
either.
honestly cannot believe that he liked her, because how do you do that to somebody that you claim? I just don't think he did. And another thing I want to talk about is mothers. Like, they are evil. Like, I know our mothers are like precious to us. They are the first nurturers, but if you want to look at it properly, our mothers are like probably the beginning of our problems. But I want to talk about my sister, my elder sister, was in a relationship as a last year with an Igbo guy that used to like beat her, like every time he used to like provoke and beat her, the lightest thing. He had no, like, don't even understand. And my mom would be like, he's good for you. Oh, I could not even understand. Is it because I don't understand if if it's because my mom's marriage failed, so she was trying all possible best that so that her children do not. I could not really understand where she's coming from. If it is me as a mom, I'll just tell you, leave. It's nothing like he's good for you. He like I don't know. I just feel like we should after reading this book, we should, when you have children, or if you already have children, you should all time all things, just start like giving the stand it properly, but then they hear you and eventually they assimilate the information. So that's like my general thought on the book. It's really, really, I would recommend this book to every female I know, every female I know, including the guy. So because I don't know if sometimes they don't see it. I don't know if there's a way mothers their sons, and like maybe they raise their sons differently than the way they raise the girls. But they don't see, they don't recognize their mistakes, or they just, I don't want to put blame on mothers because fathers also have a role of children. So I would recommend this book to everybody that I own.
God damn it.
Everybody I know. Honestly, have this. So I thank you everyone. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Favor. And I'm so sorry. I don't know if this is intrusive, but is your sister still with this person?
Oh no. She finally she finally had to go one time. And it's I could someone actually love these people. So it's not ever easy at all. It's like I leave him, but it's not that like I have it. It's not. It just takes your inner determination. Like and I'm not doing this again. Like she finally did. She finally left, and she's with an ebook. I said I didn't do not liken to culture. She's with an ebook guy now, and he's very good to her. So it has to do with individual. But although I've heard ebook guys are like prone to this attitude or whatever it may be, but then again they are still good people. So yeah.
Also, I know people across tribes like that are going through this. Like it's not. I don't think it's a cultural thing. But yes, I do. There is a very strong like patriarchal culture in the Igbo setting, which I will observe. But thank you so much, and I'm so happy that your sister has left that relationship, and I'm glad she didn't listen to your mom because that's so hard to do. So I'm so happy for your sister.
Thank you.
I'm happy for your sister too. Hi. All right. Plenty hands are up. For you who wait first, let's put a pin in this. I need to ask like the final question. Okay. Here's the question. Are there any plot points that you think the novel did not address? Do you have any lingering questions to ask the author, about ending or any other part of the book that you feel like this is your chance now to ask? Like any final questions for the author regarding the book?
Answer anything.
Okay. So I will go with Chinelo. Your hand is up. We'll start with you there.
Okay, my question is about why, as in you were so at the end you favored Gozie, expecting his name to change from Day to Ekwensu Gozie. If you're not
I understand what you mean.
So that's my question. I don't know why at the point I said this author, I think you like this character more. He would have faced the wrath of the devil so that his name will be baptized.
That's a question. So I'll be honest, right? So I wanted to do that, but I also wanted to be realistic. If we are realistic, powerful men get away with a lot of things. It's not such our current reality, but it's reality. And I remember there's this author I spoke to that I admire, and I remember she said she always jokes like, I don't write Nollywood. That's what she says. She's like, I don't want to write a film. So she just jokes like, I don't write Nollywood. And I felt like if I had like done the whole like him suffering, and it should just be like a Nollywood film, that would make the reader feel good, but then it would be realistic. I also wanted people to give me that anger, that why are we allowing men get away with this? Like, why are we allowing this? Because like that anger that you feel towards him, and the fact that he feel like he didn't get what he deserves, it's something that I want people to take away. And I just saw a comment pop up from Elizabeth, and it's true, there are so many women that would know what happened. I would marry someone like that immediately. Like, he has money, is this, is that, they'll be like, I beg, So we've seen it over and over and over. Like, even with famous men, we hear like, and there's that. So I love talking. I love proverbs a lot. There's that proverb that says the king that was used to flog the first wife is in the kitchen waiting for the second wife. You understand? Women in that situation, the stories will be all over the papers, everything on social media. This IVD that everyone is talking about. Give that guy 2 years max. He'll be parading somebody else. And I can remember when I was like, this is about 10 years ago. So I'm trying to remember, but then a particular woman came out against a famous man. I was talking about how he like him out, treated her, he did this, he did that. And the man's then girlfriend came out and was insulting the woman. Then when the like it was like our only source of news in uni. And the man was insulting and everything. A couple of years, that same woman came back to say, oh, guy, like, oh, when you were talking, when the other person was talking, you were special. You understand? And we also have this. I also think there's this common in some romantic novel that's a problem, where we make women feel like, oh, I can be the changing. You'll be there for me, I'm the one. And a lot of women, and it happens in the romantic novels, like this guy is like a terrible person, he's this, he's that, and he meets one woman and bam, and a lot of women they can be that one, and unfortunately it's never that way. It's almost never that way.
So sad.
For someone to change, they have to be in the process of actually trying to change, actually trying to become better people. So it has to be conscious, it has to come from within. So yeah, so I hope I answered the question. I wanted to be realistic. Yeah. Okay. It's really sad.
It's sad indeed, actually. Hey, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name well, Ige. You think it's Ige? Almost like Yoruba IGE. Your hand is up.
Yes, it's.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
No, you've muted yourself again. Is it
egg, like egg.
Okay, okay. All right.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for this book chat. I've really enjoying this discussion. I just wanted to add concerning Uju. I feel like one of her major problems in this book was that she did not have a good support system. Like, everybody around her or against her not want her progress in life, because she even tried to do it for one of her friends too, when she was, I've forgotten which of them, but one of them was trying to get away and she tried to help that one, but her mother still came and scat. So I feel like big problems Uju had, and why she could not leave on time was because she did not have a good support system. I think the only person that would have actually really helped her, that ended up helping her, was Sally. But for a long time, she and Sally, they were not in contact. So I think that's just one thing that should be emphasized. Because I was just, I just remembered one of my aunties that went through something similar. Like, her husband used to beat her up every time, until one time like that. Me, I was really smaller at this time, so I don't remember the details, just patch that's I used to. Anyway, so like, they used to beat her up. So one day, I don't know how my mom found out, but my mom found out, and then she just hired the car, went to the house, packed her load, said, let's leave. So she left. She went to drop my auntie in her parents' house. I don't know how she went back to the marriage. They beat her again. And my mom is like the eldest out of all the siblings, even like for the cousin, she's the first out of everybody. So she's like the one everyone listens to. So the second time she went back again and brought her. But no, the second time she ran away. So she was not staying with us in our house. Then I think my mom talked to her, even helped her get a job because she was a full-time housewife, and told her not to go back again. The husband even came that time, but I can't remember. It's like, very small, humble man. He's always smell, even bought biscuit for me. Who knew this man was a demon? Anyway, so I feel like for Ujusha, she did not have a good support system, somebody that would have helped her. The only person she knew was her friends. Her friends were going through similar things. They felt it was normal. Her mother, patriarchy princess, there's no help there. So I just feel like if she had a good support system, maybe somehow she would have made it out on time before causing so much psychological damage and trauma to her children. Her daughter, I forgot to talk that time because I could not remember, but the part where we woke up and her daughter was crying, there was blood, that part that stayed with me the most. Like, having your child witness that kind of thing, the type of trauma, that's something that has been following the child for a long time. So yes. And my own question, like the last question about something you wish others, but forgot. But the last question you asked just now, my own is, why did Gozie not die in prison? Like this book, this the better. You know that he should have just stayed there and died. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I understand why he did not die, but it's still paining me because I have hope. When I was happy for the young lady. She was moving on with her life. She had a job. She was doing well, doing very fine. He just had to come out of prison. Why did they not do us all a favor and keep him? Well, anyway, that's all. And then, sorry, one last thing that just kept playing in my mind as I was reading this book. You know that viral video of that woman that said, I'm living in pain, I'm emotionally stressed. That was me. That was Uju. I was going through everything. I kept thinking of that video. I said, what a life. Truly, what a life.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to point out something you said, right? Like, I know, like, someone asked earlier, like, why didn't Uju leave? Why didn't Uju leave? But I think in a lot of situations like this, women don't have support systems, and that is just like, so we have to consider the fact that Uju did not have the financial means to live. She didn't even have a bank account until her father died. You know, her brothers wouldn't have allowed her to leave. Her mom wouldn't. Like, she went home. That was literally the only place she could have gone, because she couldn't go to her friends because they also had their own situations, right? And she didn't want to make their own lives uncomfortable. So it was just a situation where there was really nowhere for her to go and nothing to do, no money, no nothing. And a lot of women, what's stopping a lot of women from leaving is actually financial constraints. A lot of women can't think of how they'll take care of their children, what they will do. Because so many women give up. And that's one thing, so many women give up their careers to raise their children. And then what happens is it creates a situation where they are so financially dependent on men that they are stuck in a situation that they can't even they can't manage, you know. And I was reading this study, so this is something else. I was reading this study last year, and I think it was in New York Times. I can't remember the American magazine. And so they just showed that it's not limited to just Nigerians or the lower class or whatever. So they actually interviewed women married to really, really wealthy men in New York, and they realized that a lot of these women these were women that were married to like big money men that were earning like over $100,000 a year. And these women were actually, they had like special names for like paycheck days and stuff like that. They were literally dependent on their husbands. And then it turned out that they were getting, I think, less than, about 10% of what these men were earning compared to what they would have been earning if they were working as well. But then they were full-time housewives, like literally depending on like, oh yeah, he's been paid his bonus, his this, his that. Like so everyone will see them and think, oh, they're living the life, right? But then compared to how much they could have been earning working themselves, they were not getting, like they're actually not getting up to 50% of what they could have been earning. And just create this cycle of financial dependency. And so it's not limited to just Nigeria. It's not limited to just class. Like it's a global issue. Yeah.
Oh dear. IJ, you have the floor.
So I had already typed it, and okay, I have a thing for true crimes. Maybe that's why I was thinking that way. So I was hoping after Uju had, Adugo had gisted Uju about how she fought back when the husband hit her. That period, she found lipstick on his shirt, and very fantastic proverb. Friend, that proverb is the last time I heard that proverb was when my mom was alive. That's how far ago. So it took me back down, childhood memories, and I just went like, nah, this book, apart from me being a 5-star, I'm going to read this book for a while. 'Cause I held on to that, and I even talked about it when I was reviewing the book. But another part of me was thinking, okay, why not have Adugo's husband come to this, for a business trip? Since he likes business trips, then one day as he's taking a train from Muhigo, the train will not hit him and he just fall down and die. That kind of thing. The book will not end. I mean, I'm sorry. That's what was just going through my head. Thanks and God bless.
What do I even say to that now? How am I supposed to respond to you?
How do I respond? Like, I have no response. Thank you.
Okay. Elizabeth. Yeah. All right.
Drama, please. Okay. Iwa basically said that thing. I wanted to respond to Steffi when she was asking why Uju didn't leave. She didn't have support system. Even at the end, it was just her middle brother, what's his name, that gave her money and food and all those things. Those are really important if you want to leave situations like that. Then I wanted to mention other things I liked about the book. I liked the old school songs. I love them so much. I kept going to listen to them.
I love music. I really wanted to. Thank you.
I like the way each chapter was titled. So to look forward to being the chapter, I really liked that. And then, even though we say why didn't Uju leave, I could feel every part of this book, Uju was self-aware. Like she knew what was going on. She knew when she was conforming. She knew, and she was making efforts to, raise her daughters differently. And I liked how it was highlighted in the book. If you try to change your mindset, you can't. There's still the society that is going to resist at every turn, everywhere. Sometimes it's on purpose, so that at some point you just get,
you get tired of fighting and you just
say, please. Look at even Sally and Sally. Yes. In the end, she changed her mode of dressing. I don't talk about patriarchy at work. It is terrible to unmarried women. And I was talking to my cousin after reading this. You have no idea the status married women have. See, my younger sisters are married, and I know that every time they have married, all my friends they have married, it's like that you marry tomorrow. I wait now. We remind you. You will change. You change it for me. I will remind you. Later, their head will shift back, but that first few months after marrying is something to see.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. I think that's I'm done.
Thank you. And so just to add to that, listen, like I've heard the craziest stories about what happens when people get married. Like even I will now start like someone that you've been going to all the time, madam, you are now married. And like the way people talk to you, people start inviting you to certain meetings and clubs, like, oh, you are now one of us, And so I understand why people why so they make it something to aspire to, because even if it's just that extra respect, even when men, like there's certain things men won't say to you once they see you're married. There's a level of respect Because now you belong to someone in their mind. Yes, you belong to another man. So
they respect the man, not you exactly.
Not in Lagos. Not in Lagos.
No.
Oh.
I'm talking about general respect, not like how should I, like in the sense, like how should I put it, like even just in a sense of how people approach you. I don't know how to explain.
No, there is a general respect when someone is married, and like the way you are being spoken to is different. That one is standard. It's actually standard.
Different.
It's different. Yeah.
And even me, I'm telling my cousins, even me, the way I treat people that see my cousins when they're not married, it's conditioning. I realize it in myself that now like think first before you talk to them a certain way. So
and it adds and some people get caught up in it. Like I know someone that our mutual friend told her, like, oh, start calling my husband uncle. I'm like, someone that knows my age, I call him uncle because people are married. Yeah, so like, oh, like I don't like how you call my husband by his name. Like now we are married, call him uncle. And my friend was so pissed off. She's like, I can't imagine what this person told me. She's mad. I was just like, and so that I never forgot. So, anyways,
it's cuckoo them that have their mouth. It's them that have their mouth. But wow, it is an unfortunate situation. Steph, you are at the last speaker in the house. Stephanie!
Oh my God. I know I have said a lot. But this, I think I wanted to add that the reason why Uju was not able to leave, yes, as she said, is financial constraint. You know, Uju was supposed to go for her master's before, after finishing, after getting her bachelor's in, was it accounting or was
economy?
You know, she was supposed to go for her master's. So I think men like Gozie, like already know, like it's like already premeditated. They already know how they want to treat the women they are married to, how they want to keep them under their wings or clip their wings. So they first start by saying, okay, now you are done with your bachelor's. What is of going for your master's now? Wait till when you have the kids, then you can go for your master's. Okay, when you have the kids, they are too young. What are you going for master's for? Calm down. Maybe when the first one goes to uni, you can go for your master's. And if you say, okay, I'm not going for my master's, I want to start working. They say, what are you working for? I work for the whole family. I'm going to provide for the whole family. So what are you working for? I think in that kind of way, they already make sure that, like, if you want to leave, it becomes very difficult because they know that even as the wife of a big man, there are many of them, they cannot buy any single thing by themselves. They have to call on their husbands. So like, it's already like putting them under a check, making sure that, yes, you want to leave. I know, you know that what I'm doing to you is very bad, but you can never leave because like there's this financial constraint, you can never leave. So men like Gozie already know that this is how they are going to treat their wives. It starts by making sure that they don't go back to school, they don't go back to work. And you saw that, and we all saw that, you know, she has been out of labor market for so many years. So they packed that in their stupid decisions, their wicked decisions. They know that, yes, when you are away from the labor market for many years, getting back into it is very difficult. Employers will ask, why weren't you working for 8 years? Why weren't you working for 10 years? Why weren't you working for 15 years? What have you been doing since? What do you think you know now? Do you still think that you even know anything you studied in school? So men like Gozie already know that, yes, this is the line they want to pursue. This is what they want to do. I am sure Gozie already knows that this is, men like Gozie already knew from start that this is how they were going to treat Uju. This is how he was going to treat Uju. So he made sure, number one, that she doesn't go back to school. She doesn't go back to work. She just depended on him. If she wants to buy salt, Gozie, please, we don't have salt at home. She wants to buy egg, Gozie, please, we don't have egg at home. If they say, let's pay 2,000 for the children somewhere, maybe for any fee or anything in school, Gozie, please, and please, we need money. Just, you know, it's just making sure that they are never free, because if you ask women like Uju to leave, they'll tell you leave to go where? How much do I even have in my account? What do you want me to start all over with? So it's very crazy. There's no way Uju would have left if she did not have the help of Sally. No way. No way. Hi. Oh wow. Okay. I think this has been our longest chat ever. I think for
Please
this
don't
year.
picture.
This year. Yes, we're going to take pictures. I did not forget. Popola. Paparazzi. Okay. If you have a picture, if you have your book, if you have the book here, perhaps you'd like to put it up so that we can take a picture.
I do have my copy. Hey,
baby, show your camera.
Elizabeth has the Niger one.
Yes.
On your camera, you people. I be you are in the outside. All right. Okay. I take pics.
Where is IJ with the UK cover?
She made a lot of noise about her
that
UK
she was
cover.
boasting of. Show us.
Now she's nowhere to be found.
This is UK cover now.
This is UK cover now.
NMB. I can't find my book. No.
Here. I pity you. I don't. Excuse. Wow. First of all, I could sue you for slander, but you already know what's up. I took it. I'm snapping the picture, Jarrell. Who else is available? I'm snapping it as the book covers are popping up. Yes, I shall keep snapping. Any other person? It's true. The audiobook also is very nice for those who listened to the audiobook. The narrator did a good job. Thankfully, we were not harassed by some funny sound.
She's Nigerian, so that was the main thing. She's Nigerian. She's British, but she's Nigerian.
She tried. She really did a good job. All right, I have. Yes. So thank you so much for joining us. We can't wait to see you at Ake. For those of us who will be attending Ake, this is not a shade to those who will not be attending Ake. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. But yeah, I can't wait to see you at Ake in November. Yeah, and we look forward to we look forward to more work from you. Definitely we'll be reading it here. And thank you again. Thank you so much for this book. Like all the work you put into it, for not stopping and not giving up. Because I know your journey to publishing was a very long one. So I want to say well done and thank you for not giving up. Because this book, don't worry, if I find anybody in WAEC, I do want this to be done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ira.
Thank you.
I
really had such
don't worry. I'll be the first person to get my book signed as soon as she lands in Nigeria. I'll be at the airport waiting.
Really, Joe?
Just despite you.
You can't even get your book signed faster than me. There's no even need to bet, but it's not a competition.
I'm sending my book to Nigeria. I mean, I have Mary. I will have to know. I know her room number, where she's going to stay.
I pity you, dear. You don't know. I know the people working in the hotel. Look at it. Anywho, thank you so much, Aiwa.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. It's so lovely. Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Great conversation, guys.
Really good. Yeah.
That was lovely. That was amazing.
I mean, thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
Thank you too for joining.
Thank you. You made our author cry. I mean,
it's not me. It's not me. It's you people. It's not me. It's not me.
I don't know.
Thank you so much for this book. Hi. It was an experience.
Has your mind changed?
No, so not that I hate the book because of what is inside. not hate in that way.
The writing, I say, not the writing, but the story.
Yeah, I'm just like,
Okay.
So
November.
November.
We
This November
better,
book.
I'm just about to say,
book
better
hasn't
laugh in
come.
November.
This
So
November
what?
book.
Yes.
Robin has November book in stock. Robin Heights has copies.
Yes,
What
Robin
is
Heights
this
has
book about?
Very
I
much
mean,
yesterday.
Yes, what is it about? This is the
do I
first
need
one.
to?
Okay.
Give us a summary.
Okay.
What I need to do?
Okay.
November.
It's a short summary. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but it's a book about two women who become kind of sisters because circumstances bring them together, and then a man comes in between them. There's a betrayal, and then there's another betrayal.
Women supporting women. We
Yes.
move.
Yes. The name of the book is Soul Sisters. The name of the book is Soul Sisters by Leslie Loco. She's a Ghanaian.
Oh God.
She's Ghanaian diaspora. But the book is about people who moved from South Africa, Zimbabwe.
No catfish title. No catfish title this time.
No, this one is definitely not catfish.
I think set in South Africa.
Okay.
Yes,
set in South Africa.
Set in South Africa and the UK.
Johannesburg, I think.
Hope
But
I
yeah.
won't feel like fighting you.
Look at the camera. No, I've seen it. It's fine. And
Okay. All right.
Right hand, four fingers.
All right, guys, I have to run.
Thank
Have
you.
another book club.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
The
everyone.
best video book club,
Thank you
Amalola.
for a lovely chat.
It's at 4 p.m. in a couple of hours, but I have to cook for it.
Can you imagine cooking for book club? That's nice. That's the type. That's the next level. That's what we want next.
Well done.
And there are recipes at the back of this book. So that's what we are. We read this and we're cooking.
Nice.
All
right,
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Ladies. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for a lovely chat. Bye.